I can't believe we're halfway through 2025. It's time for a mid-year reset. As usual, we're going to start on my personal dashboard, and I'm going to scroll down here to my life systems section and click on reflection. I have already started this mid-year reset, so I have that page. I will open that up. Now, the mid-year reset for me is a hybrid of a quarterly reset, a monthly reset, and an annual review. Here at the very top, I want to remind myself of my yearly goals. I've limited myself to 2 primary goals this year, and those have to do with my weight loss goals and my goals around uploading here on YouTube. So I have a weight loss goal of 130 pounds. I'm currently 152 pounds as of this morning, and I want to upload 40 videos onto my YouTube channel. I broke down those yearly goals into quarterly goals for quarter 1 and quarter 2. For quarter 1, I wanted to upload 9 videos onto YouTube, and my goal was to hit 145 pounds. I have this section here to let me know how I did. I also have a quick link to my quarterly reviews. When I click that, that links me to all of my reviews. I have my yearly, my quarterly, my monthlies, and my weeklies. And if I want to, I can dig a little deeper and look at last quarter's reviews and see how I was feeling about things then. So I want to know objectively, did I upload 9 videos in the first quarter? I'm going to open up my YouTube analytics here, and that in January I uploaded 4 videos. In February I did 2 videos. And in March, I did 3 videos, so I objectively hit that mark. So I got 9 out of 9 for that first one. And for my weight loss, I did not hit my goal. The lowest that I went was 150 pounds. And I know this because I did an entire mid-year review of all of my metrics using my life tracker that I fill out every day. I did an entire video on that last week. I'll leave it linked up above. But when I look at my weight chart here, I see that on average, I weighed 2 pounds less than when I started in January over the last 6 months. And looking at just the first half of this 6-month period, which is that first quarter, the lowest I hit was about 150. So I hit 150 out of 145. So the delta there, the difference between where I wanted it to be and where it actually was 5 pounds. For quarter 2, I also had a goal of 9 YouTube videos. Let's take a look at those analytics again. For April, I uploaded 1 video. For May, I uploaded 3 videos. And for June, I've uploaded 1 video so far. This video will be going up, so that is going to get me to 6, but I am going to be 3 short. I also want to track that here in my YouTube dashboard. At the very top, I have a tracker for my 2025 uploads. I've already uploaded 1 video in June, and I'll be doing 2 more. So for quarter 2, I will reach 7 out of 9, and I'm 153 compared to the 140 that was my goal. So my delta is actually getting bigger because it's 13 pounds instead of the 5 pounds. So what does this tell me? Overall, it looks like I was slightly better at follow through with my goals for quarter 1. I may be slacking a little bit in quarter 2. I want to examine what specifically has been going well. Let's start with what's been working well. I have really made a focused effort on my channel. I took about a month off between my last job and starting my new job. I'm actually starting that new job in just a few days. I'm happy that I took that 1 month and really decided to focus all of my energy on expanding my channel, on getting ahead with videos, really understanding what it is that you guys want to see. So if there's anything that you would like me to cover for the remainder of the year, please drop it in the comment section down below. And if this is your first time here, hi, my name is Dr. Jamie. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist who works primarily as a behavioral scientist who focuses on performance optimization. And part of what I do is experiment on myself by doing these really focused reviews. So let's keep going. I have focused effort on my channel. I have seen some growth, and I have also seen the fruits of my labor. I think that I'm getting better at editing, better at moving through my process for uploading. There's some internal factors that have worked out very well. I think I have a high level of motivation, and motivation is an interesting topic in the psychological literature because a lot of people think that they need to be motivated before they take an action. But actually, we find that taking action leads to increased motivation. And that's because as you do something over and over, you tend to get a little bit better over time, and you start collecting wins, and that inevitably develops self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is this belief in your ability to succeed at a specific task. So it's interesting because there's this positive feedback loop. The more you do things, the better you get at it, and the better you get at something, the more likely you are to do more of it. So it's a positive feedback loop. And I think that the small successes that I'm having here on YouTube is really fueling that motivation. So in a way, it's an internal factor and an external factor, because part of it is I've had some success with some videos, and that has really helped to increase that motivation. Also, as I said, I have had the last 4 weeks off, and that is not a luxury that I have all the time or that many people have, to be able to deep dive into their passion project. So having time off also was an external factor that contributed to that. What's not been working? Clearly, my weight loss journey has not been going well. So weight loss journey is, let's call it, stalled. And what are some internal factors for that? Well, if we're being really real and honest, which is what I try to do during these resets, even if I'm going to say something that is potentially uncomfortable, I'd rather tell myself the truth than be working from faulty or inaccurate data. I think that one of the internal factors affecting my ability or affecting like my motivation to work on it is that I spend a lot of time at work or at home. I'm not spending a lot of time going out to like parties or events or even military balls that I used to go to, because we're a military family and I would go with my husband pretty regularly to these like fancy events, and I'd wear a fancy dress. And because my weight loss journey is really about aesthetics as opposed to like a health related reason, I really don't necessarily have the drive to try to look a certain way, because really I'm just in front of the camera in my regular t-shirt or at work in my work clothes, where I'm really focused on what I'm bringing to the table academically and not really looks wise. So it kind of makes sense here that my internal motivation is a little bit lacking. So I would say internal factors, there's a lack of purpose. What am I doing this for? And external motivators, I really want to fit into my clothes, because as a person who enjoys getting dressed and getting fancy and going out in the town, I have acquired a small amount of like high quality clothing that would be a big financial investment for me to have to rebuy or repurchase or start my collection over again. There is a monetary motivation for me. I really just want to fit into my clothes, the ones that I have already. Okay. So I would say the weight loss has stalled. What other external factors? I think that it has been difficult to food log, and I also went on vacation, so that had an impact on that. Funny enough, we spent 3 weeks in Japan, and I actually lost the most weight while I was in Japan because I was walking about 22,000 steps a day. And that really does add up. So I lost like 3 pounds while I was there, and then I gained it all back as soon as I came back. So if this is something that I really want to focus on, I have to change something. And that's okay. We know that now, so we can do something about it. Let's go to the next section here. This is my favorite memory section. This is something I stole from my monthly review and reset routine. Favorite memories is a different way for me to review, reflect, and savor some of the positive things that have happened over the last 6 months. And there's quite a bit of data on the benefits of the savoring effect, which is how you look at things that have gone really well, things like gratitude journals or reviewing pictures of positive experiences that you had, and taking the time to purposefully move your attention toward those positive events or positive situations or points of gratitude, and how that increases your ability to notice happy or positive things over time, as well as your general life satisfaction. So let's get that started. I like to make a little collage using Canva, which is free digital design software. I am going to type in photo collage, and it's going to give me some templates for that. I like to have a horizontal template, so those could be a little challenging to find. I'm going to go with this one. This looks cute. This one might also work. All right, let's go with this one. Customize this template. Then I'm going to open up my photos. In the search bar, I'm going to put 2025. I am going to type in 2025 and I see that I have 2,861 photos. I'm going to take a look at these results, and it's actually pretty fast to flip through, and I'm looking for photos of positive experiences that I had for the last 6 months. It looks like I selected 32 photos. This template might not be enough, but I could always go back and see if there's a larger template since I've picked a bunch. So I'm going to hit photo collage. Let's go with this one, customize the template. And I'm going to start moving some of these photos over here. All right, let's start with my hair. I got my hair cut in Japan and I was very excited about it. And I even did some videos with my new hairstyle. And then when I went to get it shortened, because they're bangs and they grow over time, I went to a Japanese salon here in the DC area and they gave me this haircut, which is quite different than this haircut. And as you can see, I was not happy about that. Before I left to Japan, I finally went to see the Lego art exhibit with my son. It was amazing. He is a big fan of Legos and we had a lot of fun there. This is me pretending to throw a discus. I am going to take a screenshot of this and I will move that into this template here, and now I have my favorite memories within my mid-year review. Next, I'm going to look at my monthly reviews. I've looked at my quarterly reviews already. I'm clicking here and I'm going to take a look at my monthly reviews and see if there's anything that I want to take note of as I'm moving toward the next half of the year. Some of the things that stood out for me during my monthly reviews was how unhappy I was at work. So I think work has a big impact. And that was the same thing that I saw when I looked at my metrics. So here is a measure of job satisfaction, and this is on a scale from 1 to 4. And I fully reviewed all of my metrics in my last video. The job satisfaction metric ran from a 1 to 4, 1 being the least satisfied and 4 being the most. And by far, most of the days I had a very low level of job satisfaction. And I had higher levels of satisfaction in every other domain in my life, with my relationship, with myself, and with my life overall. So I think it's a little bit more nuanced than work has a big impact on my overall satisfaction. I don't think that's actually true numerically. I would just say I wasn't happy at work. And that's what I got from reading over my monthly reviews, as well as what I got from the numbers in my tracker. Next up are the upcoming major events, travel, or deadlines. Reviewing my upcoming major events, travels, or deadlines is something that I do every quarter. And I do that by looking at my digital calendar. I look at it on a monthly basis because things like travel or major events, they're going to take up a substantial amount of my calendar and will likely have these large sections that cut across multiple days, or at least cut across entire days. So the major events are that my son is going to be out of school. He is going to be traveling for about a month. So that's indicated here with this big yellow. I am no longer doing this week-long event. So it's something for me to note as I'm going through my quarterly review. I can clean up my calendar because sometimes I plan things way in advance and things change. So this is a perfect opportunity to review what's on my calendar long term, but also clean it up if things have changed. My son is traveling, but it doesn't look like I have any major travels in July, August, and September, which is a big change since my last job had me traveling around a lot. And I think my new job will be a lot less travel. I'm seeing just some general birthdays. Scheduling of my dental appointment is on a different schedule now, so I'm going to delete. I do have to sign my son up for fall sports around the end of the summer, and that usually requires me getting his sports physical and getting all this paperwork done, which I've thankfully already done. I did it at the end of the school year so that I could be prepared for the end of summer before the summer rush of getting all of those things done. There is nothing else that I see even going into September except my husband's birthday. It's also my birthday during the summer. So I have a lot of birthdays in the summer. So I'm just going to note to myself that we have some birthdays. So I'm going to just remind myself July. All right, so there's some birthdays. The kid is out of town through mid-July. Events. I'm starting a job. My husband is also starting a new job. He's actually starting a new academic program, so he's starting school. It's going to be about a year long. He's getting another master's degree, so that's going to be very interesting since he has been working 9 to 5 for several years, and now he's taking a little break. It's a training offered through the military, so he'll still be in service, but he's taking like a year to do this specialized training. So it's going to be different around here. Thankfully, we don't have to move, so that's going to stabilize us for a little while. Unfortunately, it's in the Washington, D.C. metro area, which has its ups and downs. All right, anything else in terms of major events, travel, or deadlines? I think we're all good. Now we're going to move on to quarterly tasks. I'm going to confirm that I have enough money in my budget to pay my HOA bill. Since my HOA bills are every quarter, I set aside a third of that bill every month using my budget app, which is YouNeedABudget. And by the time the bill is due, I have enough in that bucket to pay that bill. I'm also going to confirm that I have set up an auto check to be sent from my bank over to my homeowner's insurance so that I'm not delinquent on that. All right, let's take a little break and go on a field trip to get my oil change. All right. Next comes the bane of my existence, and that is cleaning my makeup brushes. Glad I'm not continuing to smush bacteria onto my face. Oh, I forgot to fill out this question. What am I looking forward to this quarter? This is based on this concept in psychology called anticipatory pleasure. So many people talk about anticipatory anxiety. That's the worry that you get about a future event. There's also the flip side, which is anticipatory pleasure. When we think about doing something positive, we actually get a jolt of the same neurochemicals that we get when we're actually doing something. So that's called consumatory pleasure, the pleasure that you get when you're doing something fun. But when you think about doing something fun or pleasurable, you also get like little micro doses of feel-good juices. And when you remember fun things that you did, which is part of what we did by collecting all of those pictures of the fun things that we've done over the last 6 months, you also get a similar amount of pleasure from reliving or remembering positive experiences. So we're going to leverage that. What am I looking forward to this quarter? I am looking forward to my new job. I am also looking forward to some time alone with my husband, since my son goes away on a summer trip every summer. Since we're a military family and we move quite often, we're away from relatives for extended periods of time. So since my son was about a preteen, he has been visiting family for a month at a time, and he is going to be heading out for his summer adventure, and my husband and I will have 3 or 4 weeks on our own. I'm also looking forward to continuing to expand the types of videos that I have here on YouTube, and also kind of venturing out into some of these other areas of interest. All right, now we're moving on to updates. Every quarter, I look at my values and goals and review those. Up here, I have my value section. Every year, I go through the process of determining my top values. And this year, they were beauty, mastery, and equanimity. So I like the way that things look, and I care about aesthetics. I like to be good at what I'm doing, and I like things to generally just be calm, smooth, easygoing. I have my little motto here, through persistence I conquer, and that helps to motivate me moving forward. There is some evidence that specific types of self-talk could be helpful in moving you closer to your goals. Interesting fact, it doesn't necessarily have to be positive self-talk. There is some evidence that for some people, Positive self-talk really helps propel them toward their goal. And for some people, even like negative self-talk or things like calling yourself slow when you're trying to run faster might actually be helpful for some people. But for me, I like this positive affirmation: through persistence, I conquer. And that helps get me through sometimes. We've already reviewed my yearly goals, and we've already reviewed the highlights and goals that I had for quarter 1 and quarter 2. Now I have my highlight for quarter 3, and that is starting my new job. I am also going to add individual monthly goals toward my quarter 3 goals. So first, let's start with my quarter 3 goals. So I'm currently 152 pounds. What is a reasonable amount for me to think that I can lose within the next 12 weeks? So I've actually been doing a lot better at tracking my calories since doing my mid-year review. I saw that I only tracked my calories about half of the days in the first half of 2025. And ever since doing that review, I've actually gotten a lot better at tracking my calories. I'm probably on like a 10-day streak at this point. So I think that based on how I'm doing right now, maybe a half pound a week might be a reasonable amount. So that would be like 6 pounds. 1 pound a week might also be reasonable. So that's 12 pounds. I think I want to go somewhere in the middle. And like most humans, I tend to like things that end in 5 or 0. So let's go with 145 pounds. So my quarter 3 goal will be 145 pounds. I also like to put in a header from Canva, so I'm going to download that header. And while I'm here, I'll also make the header for 9 videos, which will be my YouTube goal. Now that I have that, I'm going to hit add cover, change cover, upload, choose my upload file. That is the right one. And now that appears here, I'm also going to add 9 videos, add cover, change cover, upload, select the file, and we have 9 videos. I'm also going to go into these individual goals and complete some questions to increase the likelihood that I'll reach those goals. So I have a quarterly, monthly, and weekly goal template, and that has specific questions that I can ask myself when I'm thinking about adding or starting a new goal. So first I'm going to start with clarifying the goal. So what exactly is the goal that I'm trying to achieve? And I want some metric, some measurable thing that can tell me, yes, you made it, or no, you didn't. And this one is really easy because I have a numeric, which is a number on the scale. So number on scale equals 145. Why is this goal important to me? What is driving me? It's really about getting myself out of the routine of just being at home and at work. And I want to get out there and feel comfortable in my skin and also in my clothing. So get out of the house and do more things in my pretty clothes. All right, feasibility and relevance. Is this goal realistic given my current circumstances? Do I have the time, the resources, the skills, and the support? I do have the resources, skills, and support. I know exactly what I need to do in order to lose weight. Do I have the time? I think that has been an issue in the past. And I need to make sure that I'm carving out specific time to ensure that I am eating mindfully and that I'm actually taking the time to log my calories. Now, that is not the only way to lose weight. That is just the way that works for me to lose weight and how it's worked for me in the past and how my current dietitian is encouraging me to do things. So I know how to move forward. Now, is the number realistic? We're talking 5, 6, 7 pounds. 7 pounds in 12 weeks is realistic. So I would say I have the skills and I have the support. What are the potential obstacles and how will I overcome them? First obstacle is eating out because my husband likes to eat out at restaurants. I don't know if he doesn't like my cooking or what. I can't get him to admit what's going on, but he prefers to eat out. He does say that because he's in charge of doing the dishes and cleaning up the kitchen, he prefers to eat out because it's less work for him. I'm going to go with that and not that he totally hates my cooking. But eating out with my husband, because he has a preference for that and I have a difficulty saying no to him. So I just want to be aware of that. How will I overcome that? I'm going to limit. Actually, I think the textbook answer is limit going to restaurants, but I don't think that that's realistic. We are childless right now. We are more likely to go out. And also, I don't want to conflict with why my weight loss goal is important to me, which is going out and wearing nice clothes and like being out of the house. So I think what's more realistic is having a set way of ordering, because everywhere we go, I can get mostly protein and vegetables. And if there's an issue with that, then I just need to be able to look at the menu and pre-plan how I'm going to accommodate that meal within my caloric allowance. So eating out with my husband is a potential obstacle, but I will have a way of ordering, kind of a standard there, and ensure enough calories before I go out. Another potential obstacle is that I'm starting a new job. I don't know what the schedule is going to be like. I do understand that academia might have some more flexibility, and I'm also working relatively close to restaurants and even like within theoretical lunch commuting distance to my house. Maybe. DC is always a question mark. But I would just say new job, and I would have to mitigate as I know more about my schedule. Okay. What steps do I need to take to achieve this goal? I'm going to say determine my ordering style and continue to track. Fortunately, that leads me nicely into how will I know that I'm on track to achieve this goal? And I'm going to say continue monitoring. Awesome. Let me fill out the same thing for my videos goal and come right back. Flexibly. Great. Now it's time to identify what I'm going to be doing in July, August, and September in service of those goals. So for July, I would like to hit a weight of 150. I think that's probably reasonable. I am going to try to hit a goal of, let's say, 147 in August and 145 in September. That is about a 3-pound loss every month. For videos, that's pretty easy. I want to do 3 in July, 3 in August, and 3 in September. I am going to delete these placeholders that I have here in my template. And then I'm going to add any individual side quests or little monthly goals that I'm trying to do. I am actually a little behind on monthly goals that I had last month. So for July, I'm going to establish a new morning routine. For August, I'm going to work on my nighttime routine. I know that I'm behind because I've been apprehensive about starting off new routines since I'm starting a new job and I don't know what that is going to entail. But I do have the scaffolding, like the skeleton of a morning routine that I'm trying to put together. Once I do that in July, in August, I would really like to hone in on my nighttime routine. And in September, I want to make sure that I am forward prepping for the end of year videos. So prep for end of year videos, since I have lots of ideas for what I want to do for the end of the year. Let me know in the comments section down below if you would be interested in some sort of group yearly planning session. I'm thinking about holding a live session where we can all plan together for 2026. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're there, consider subscribing to this channel. All right, so we are done with Q3 planning. I don't have any specific highlights for Q4. It looks like a lot of things are changing in my life. So I'm going to leave that alone. Let's go back to the mid-year review here. And we're all the way down here. We have just reviewed our values and goals. Now let's review our finances. This is my finance page. And I have some quick links here toward my net worth, my budget. I have a link to my net worth calculator. This is something that I calculate once a year. Some people do it every quarter or twice a year, and this might be a good time to do that if you are someone who wants to track your net worth more closely, but I tend to do it once a year. And now's also a good time for me to take a quick peek into my budget. This is YouNeedABudget or the YouNeedABudget app, and this is how I manage my household budget. The first thing I'm going to do is reconcile all of my transactions. So I have 20 transactions to approve or classify. I'm going to hit view. This is everything that I need a category for. YouNeedABudget does a really good job at auto classifying many of your transactions, but things that aren't always classified the same way, say Target or Amazon, those might be things that fall under my personal spending category, my husband's personal spending category, or our grocery category. So those things that kind of change in terms of what category they belong to, it's harder for YNAB to auto classify. So I'm going to go through and see what it has done a good job at classifying. So this was groceries, that was Indeed Me, that was Crunchyroll, that was ChatGPT, that was Hulu. Since this needs a new category and this pest control is going to be every quarter, and it's gonna come out of a paycheck that's between the 15th and the 30th. So I'm adding it here under essentials for the 15th. Is it an essential though, or is it a subscription? I'm gonna go with essential. This is handling ants that we have all around the house. I am actually going to add a little ant icon to that, and let's see how much it costs. Going to create a target. I need $200. It is going to be custom. I need to set aside, let's say $200 for before the first, which is for the first one, and then I'm going to have it repeat every 3 months. Save that target, and I need to fill that target from somewhere because I am short. Before I do that, let me classify this, categorize as pest control. So now I have classified all of my spending. Going back to my budget here, I am going to see where I have overspent. So I've overspent on pest control and I've overspent on my phone. Oh, it looks like my phone bill went up by $12.07. I don't know what that is about. So I'm just going to go back to my personal dashboard and add a quick note to myself. Check on phone bill. All right, that is there. Okay, so I can cover that $12 because I still have $45 left to assign. So I'm going to click it and then just hit this underfunded button, and now that's good to go. But I only have $33 left that isn't assigned anywhere, and I need to pay this bill that's $225. So I need to find that somewhere in my budget. I'm going to cover the overspending from, let's see, where do I have money and where can I cover? I think I can cover it from this. I think that category is overfunded. So now we should be good to go. Everything here is green, just making sure everything is good to go. Everything that needs to be funded has been funded. Everything that needs to be paid has been paid. This is our annual subscriptions where I'm putting little chunks of money aside to make sure that I have the money ready to go when those annual subscriptions are due. Weekly variable expenses are covered for this month since I do that at the beginning of the month, and I can just take a peek at my spending account. I have $683 left to spend. My husband has about $700, and we have money for groceries, a small budget for restaurants, and then a small buffer here. I actually am buffering for a known expense that we have coming up. So that is all good. The budget is done. Let's head back. I don't have to check into my taxes. That's something I just do once a year. I keep receipts for bills that I've paid or speeding tickets that I have paid. And I also have a form for calculating my emergency fund and how big my emergency fund needs to be. I have those resources listed right here for my own memory. Now, since we're in the middle of the year, I want to look at my financial vision board and see where I am in meeting the goals that I've set for myself for this year. So here in 2025, I want to autofill my Roth IRA to $7,000, which is the highest allowable limit. And I've already set an auto pay to do that. So I don't want to check it off as completed just yet. I also want to redo the yard, and my husband's been working on that and we've already fully funded that. So I'm going to check that off. I also would like to build a studio. My studio is currently in this office, but I want to move this studio downstairs. You might hear that I have this like rickety chair, and that's because there's not a lot of room here to have a permanent chair. This chair folds off to the sides, so I have more room here, but we have a goal of getting the studio downstairs. So I'm going to leave that up there. I don't think that a major upgrade is happening to the studio this year because we just bought a couch. Since we added a pretty pricey couch to what we bought this year, this studio may not happen and it might have to be moved to 2026. But overall, it looks like we're doing okay on our financial goals, at least at this mid-year point. My quarterly review is also when I update my workout plan and my content plan. And that can take quite some time, especially when I'm changing up what I'm doing for my workout or when I need to do some heavy updates to my content planning. So I'm gonna go grab some tea and then get started on this. I have my tea, but my workout planning and my content planning could take quite some time, and I have a nail appointment coming up. So I'm gonna walk you through my thought process when it comes to workout planning, go get my nails done, and then I'll come back and plan my content calendar for the rest of the quarter. This is how I plan out my workout. It could look a little intimidating, and that's because I program my own CrossFit workouts, and the concept behind CrossFit is this constantly varied programming. Now, I'm not just doing CrossFit this year. I've actually decided to start on a 75 soft challenge. That is going to be the video that I'm putting up next week because I'm starting a 75-day challenge in July. And with that challenge, I've decided that I'm going to do 2 workouts a day every day of the week, but the workouts are going to vary. So let me show you what that's going to look like. I'm actually going to open this up as a big calendar. So it's going to be cardio every day, but it's not going to be the same intensity of cardio. I recently read a study done at a Japanese university where they compared walking 10,000 steps to walking 30 minutes, 3 minutes at a moderate pace and 3 minutes at an intense pace, just a walking pace, the fastest walking that you could do before you start running. That's 3 minutes of moderate walking and 3 minutes of fast walking on and off for 10 sessions. So in total, it's 30 minutes. So I'm calling that 30-minute Japanese walk. And I'm going to be doing that 4 times a week. I'm going to do that all weekend, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then I'll do an intense cardio session 3 days a week. That's going to be 2 1-mile runs and 1 10,000-meter bike or row. And then I'm going to have 4 days of lifting and 3 days of CrossFit. CrossFit can get pretty intense, so I want to do those on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, since those will be my walking days. So I'll add CrossFit here. I'll duplicate and duplicate. So that will be on Thursday and Saturday. And this is just a placeholder so that I'm able to visualize how I want to set up my week. For my lifting days, I'm going to do a push day, a pull day, a legs day, and a full body day. The full body day, I think Wednesday would work out best. Now I know leg day is universally Monday. That may or may not work for me, so I'm going to give it a try like this. This is what my schedule will look like. On Sundays, I'll be doing a 30-minute walk and a full body lifting session. On Mondays, a 2-mile run and a leg day. That is not going to work out for me. So let's see how I can change that. Leg day needs to be moved to another day. Let's have leg day be during my walk day on Sunday. Then I can do full body, okay, my pull day with a 2-mile run, my push day with a 2-mile run, okay, CrossFit with a walk, the bike/row with full body, CrossFit with walk, 2-mile push day, CrossFit, and walk. All right, I think this split might work. Now I'm going to take some time and write out some pull day workouts, some full body workouts, some push day workouts. I don't have to do anything for the 2-mile runs, the cardios, or the Japanese walk, but I do have to ensure that my CrossFit is staying constantly varied. So if you want to see how I do that, I'll go ahead and play some music and show you how it's done. And if you're interested in jumping ahead to my content calendar and the remainder of this mid-year review, I'll leave the timestamp right here.
Oh, wow.
So the lights just went out here in the DC area. We've had some pretty big storms. I did get my outfit changed with my new nails, but it looks like I'm not going to be able to finish my reset tonight. Let's pick this up tomorrow. So here we are a day later, and we're going to pick up where we left off. We were way down here looking at my workout plan. So let's go into there and see what we have come up with. I added all of my cardio here in gray, starting with the 2-mile run, then the 30-minute walk, 10,000-meter row or bike, the 30-minute walk, 2-mile run, and 30-minute run. Then I have put in all of my lifts and the CrossFit days. The easiest way for me to put all of that into one calendar was actually to separate them out. So I had a separate page here where I have all of the workouts in one view. I have my weight training in another view, so I was able to confirm that I have that 4 days a week. I also had a view for my cardio, and I saw that I had that every day of the week. and I had a view for my CrossFit, and that helps to ensure that I'm varying on the variables that I need to vary. I really like the way that I've set up my CrossFit database. So at the very top, I have the lifts. So I just have to look across and make sure that things are different colors. So this is a thruster, kettlebell, dumbbell, front squat, deadlift, overhead squat. So I know that I'm not repeating the same movements too close together. The second line tells me the loading. So I know that this week I have light, moderate, moderate, light, moderate, light. I have a heavy, a light, and a moderate. I want to make sure mostly that I don't have too many heavy days in my week. I've set all of that up for the next 3 months. That is done. So I'm going to move on to my content plan. I'm going to do that off camera, but if you're interested, here is my YouTube dashboard. I update this uploads tracker. I identify if I have any new video ideas that I want to prioritize, and then I schedule out the next 3 months of programming here on this channel. Moving on to the ideal week update, that usually takes me the longest amount of time because I work through what are my goals for this quarter and how I can arrange my week to increase the likelihood that I'm going to meet those goals. I'm really planning down to the micro level, as in what can I do on specific days of the week to really move me forward. I have a real issue with planning my ideal week for this quarter. I'm starting a new job. I don't know anything about the schedule. I don't know what my specific demands are going to be. And I do know that I have the evenings, the early mornings, and the weekends to work on my specific goals. But it's hard for me to have a holistic picture of what my week is going to look like since I don't know what my 9 to 5 is going to look like. So it's going to be difficult for me to really plan out my entire week. Since I try to match high effort tasks at home, so my evenings, with low pressure days at work, and then add some of the easier, more fun tasks in the afternoon if I know I have a really meetings heavy or cognitively demanding day at work. I won't know those things until I start, so I anticipate that the fourth quarter planning is going to be more specific when it comes to the ideal week. If you're interested in what a typical ideal week setup looks like, I'm going to link a few videos down in the description box explaining what is an ideal week and where I actually walk you through how I set up my ideal week at that time. For now, I'm going to shut off all of my calendars here. And I do that so that I can have a blank slate and start from scratch every quarter. I am going to turn on this ideal week. I don't like that green, so let's make it a prettier color. I'm going to have it be this bright blue. In an ideal week, I'm sure I'm going to have the morning time. I'm going to assume that I have 6 to 8 and that I start work around 9. I don't have any evidence in which to base this assumption, but we do have to move forward with some assumptions if we don't have all of the data that we need. So in the morning, ideally, I would like to wake up at 5:30. I like to kind of ease into my day. Even if I'm going to start my day at the gym, I just want a little bit of time to get up slowly, brush my teeth, and kind of get dressed at a leisurely pace. Ideally, I would like to do this on a weekly basis. So I'm going to hit custom all of the weekdays. And I'm just going to have it stop after 5 occurrences because I'm just using this template to plan out my ideal week. I'm not actually going to be turning on and off this calendar. This is mostly just a planning exercise. And then I'll actually execute that by adding them into my real calendars that I use on a daily basis. So I have this wake up. I would like to spend ideally an hour and a half in the gym, but because I'm doing 2 workouts, I do want to give myself the 2 hours to actually do that. If I could get that down to an hour and a half, I would like to spend 30 minutes planning out my day moving forward. I just don't know if that's realistic for me. And I really don't want to lie to myself and say I'm going to be in and out of the gym in an hour and a half, especially when I'm committing to doing 2 workouts a day. So I think it's more realistic to give myself those 2 hours and to give myself the 30 minutes or probably 45 minutes to get ready for work. Getting ready for work is showering, getting dressed, and also packing my lunch. So I'm going to give myself 45 minutes to do that. Repeat it every day of the week. I don't know how many days of the week I'm going to be in the office versus not, but for now, let's just go ahead and say every day of the week. And then I have my commute. The commute should only be about 15 minutes, but I'm going to give myself some added time and say that I'll be there between 9 and 9:30. We'll again have that repeat just for 5 occurrences. Okay, starting with my weekend routine, I want to make sure that I'm working out first thing in the morning, but I also need to make sure that I'm matching tasks with the energy level that I need and the activation potential. That's the amount of energy that it takes for me to start a task. So I have the most energy in the morning, especially say mid morning, like 7, 8 o'clock. So part of me wants to protect that time to film and work on YouTube. The risk that I run there is that I won't be motivated to get dressed for the gym and go out to the gym and do 2 workouts in one day if I don't front load those things. So there is the problem. I think that if I do an early morning workout, say 6 to 7 again, or maybe I'll just give myself a little bit of space, 7 to 9, but that will be too late for me to start working on YouTube. So I really think I do need to get up at 6 o'clock and do the gym. I'll do that. And I do have a home gym, so it works out a little bit easier for me. I will get ready for YouTube, get ready to film. And I don't film on Sundays, so I only have to do that on Saturdays. Usually it's Sundays when my son is home because Saturday is our family day. But while he's gone for the next month or so, I am going to strive to film on Saturdays and then do my editing on Sundays. So for now, this is the preliminary plan. I'm going to get ready to film, and then I tend to film like all day. So this will be filming. I want to make this another color. When you change the color on a Google Calendar, just by doing that right click and assigning a different color, it still just remains in the same calendar, so I could still turn the whole thing on and off. I am going to change the commute. I always do commute in yellow, just make it a gray for kind of administrative tasks. And then I have my workouts. You definitely don't have to color code this calendar. You're just doing it to map out what your ideal week looks like and how you could actually fit in tasks to make sure you're moving forward toward your goals. But since I really care about how things look, I do take the time to make it pretty. All right, so I'm filming during this time. I'm probably at work until late in the afternoon. Usually I pick up my son at 4. I leave work at 4. I'll get to his school by 4:30, but these 3 months, so July, August, and September, he is actually only going to be doing after school activities one of those 3 months. So I'm going to plan to leave work at 4 and actually be home by 5 to do dinner with the family. I'm going to do that every day of the week, of course, until my son goes back to his after school activities, and then we'll have to modify that. One of the things that I have continuously been working on is Japanese study, and I'd like to start meeting with my Japanese tutor twice a week. So I think I want to do that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 times with a tutor, and the other days of the week on my own. So I'm going to put Japanese study. I am going to repeat that on Wednesday. Now, Fridays are my favorite day of the week, and usually that's because I have focused, dedicated time to work on YouTube. On Fridays, we usually order out, so that works out nicely because I don't have to cook the dinner. I can just practice my Japanese and then eat dinner, spend some time with the family. I know that I like to spend most of Friday working on YouTube, and I'm going to leave that generally open rather than saying what I'll be working on during the specific days. Before I move forward and fill up all of my empty spots, I do want to refer back to my life domains. So I'm going to open that up and head into my yearly review and take a look at my life domains. I am spending a good amount of time here with the productivity psychologist. I'm spending some time on health and fitness. I am prioritizing sleep because I'm going to have a hard start and stop. I am putting in some time for personal growth because I have Japanese lessons. I want to put in a weekly self-care kind of reset routine, like washing my hair, maybe taking a bath. I would like to do that on a Sunday night. So let me add that in to 8 o'clock. I'm going to make this shorter and then have a self-care hour. Maybe do a mask, just relax because I don't have a lot of relaxation going on. And that is something that I noticed when I did my annual review. In terms of fun and recreation, scheduled downtime, time to unplug and unwind, I had almost none of that. If you look at my assessment here, fun and recreation is like a 1 out of 10. So I do want to make a conscious effort to address that this year, and putting in that like 1 hour of protected time might be helpful. For finances, I'm taking care of that on a weekly and monthly basis with those reviews. Physical environment, so that's cleaning, doing laundry, taking care of the car. The car is taken care of with my quarterly reviews. Laundry, that's something that has to be put in the weekly calendar. So I'm going to take a look at that and see when I could put laundry in. I think what I would like to do is put in laundry right here as soon as I'm done with my workout, because I can take off my sweaty gym clothes, I can toss it in the dryer, and I can run a load there. I am going to customize that. I think I'm going to do it every day. It's difficult for me to do something like that, which is a behavioral chain. Like, I work out every day, I take off my gym clothes, I put everything in the washing machine, and then I start that washing machine up. If I try to do it every other day or try to remember, it is going to break that behavioral chain, and I want to instill that habit. One of the quickest ways to instill that habit is to attach a new behavior to an already existing behavior. Right now, I'm kind of doing the laundry 3 or 4 times a week when any of the laundry baskets get full, but I'd rather have it be more systemized. So I'm going to have this happening every day of the week, and I'm not going to do laundry on the weekends. That gives me some focused, dedicated time to do the other things that I'm trying to do during that time. I'm going to have this stop after 5, again, just so that I can see what it looks like on the calendar, and I'm going to make it red because there's an overlap, so I just need to remind myself, hey, right before I get ready, I am going to throw in a load of laundry. Then in the afternoon, when I get back from work, I'm going to switch the laundry, so I will have laundry again, and that way I have a wash in the morning, move it to the dryer in the evening. And I know it does stay in the washing machine for a little bit of time, but if I don't remember to move it before I leave, at least I will remember to do it in the afternoon. Sometimes we just need to satisfy the situation, even though it might not be perfect. So we have the laundry during those days. Will I do the laundry on Friday? Yeah, laundry is not a big deal for me. This also gives me the opportunity to fold the laundry in the afternoon if I do remember to move it from the washer to the dryer before I leave for work. So I have the laundry there. This is why I really like to refer back to my life domains, especially during this mid-year review, because I can take a look at what I wanted to do in January and kind of course adjust here. So physical environment is taken care of. We also have a standard cleaning schedule. In terms of my friends and family, including my husband and my son's away for the summer, but I do have a chance to spend some additional quality time with my husband. So I wonder if I can move editing. I do want to have just some time with him. Maybe I can just do a 4-hour block for husband. He has some time there on my schedule, and then I will have a big block for editing, and I can move it around as I need to. This just tells my husband if we want to plan something to do together during the daytime, it's probably going to be on Sunday rather than Saturday. And if he wants to do something in the afternoon, I can edit in the morning or vice versa. Back to my yearly review and comparing those life domains. I've put in some time for friends and family. I have a new 9-to-5 job, which was my goal in January. I've put in some time for fun and recreation, and clearly I'm putting in time for the productivity psychologist. I've been able to allocate time to all of my life domains, taking actions toward my annual goals. Now I have this nice chunk of time here. I am going to dedicate that time. I'm going to say 6:30 to 8:30 because we do like to watch some TV during dinner and a little bit after dinner. So I'm going to make this all YouTube time, and I'm going to leave it very flexible because YouTube has so many different tasks, and those tasks require a different level of attention, a different level of cognitive demand, a different level of emotional investment. I like having it really flexible because if I'm feeling really creative, I'm going to think about new topics, thumbnails, and titles. If I'm feeling like I really want to get out this topic from my head, I'm going to do a lot of writing. So for me, having that block dedicated to YouTube, but not having those assigned to a specific task, is probably going to be the most accurate reflection of what I'm actually going to do during those times. And I have a hard stop of 8:30 for Japanese study, which means that I'm doing my nighttime routine from 9 to 10:30-ish. Locking down my nighttime routine is something that I'm going to be working on this quarter, since it was one of my monthly goals. So I'm not going to fill out what that routine is going to look like just yet, and I am simply going to leave it there. I'm going to cancel this and do my nighttime routine on Sundays as well. This leaves some white space here on Saturday in the event that I have to move anything from 6 to 10 around on the weekdays, or if I need to move anything around on the weekends. Now that I know that I'm moving toward my goals and I'm addressing all of my life domains effectively, minus my 9 to 5, since I haven't put anything in there from 9 to 5, I am good to go and my ideal week is done. I'm going to walk through these questions and make sure that I have addressed everything. We are at the last section of the mid-year review, and that is my systems check. So I'm going to review my Notion to make sure that it's still working for me. This is my personal dashboard. I've been thinking about potentially adding in a calendar view for my week for tasks that I want to do up here at the very top. But I do really like looking at my events, all the personal tasks that I have, things that are past due, and then just today's tasks. I like this format so far, so that's working out for me. And this calendar view, what I'd like to change about it is I want for the tasks to go away once I have clicked them off. There are other calendars where I like to keep them on the calendar, and that's so that I can feel a sense of accomplishment. That's how I set up my work calendar. But for my personal calendar, I want them to go away. So I'm going to filter for complete. If complete is unchecked, then it can stay there. And once it's checked, it goes away for good. My important notes section is going to stay the same. I still want to know my son's pickup schedule, my weekend plans with the family, and also who is planning date night and what we're doing. This is my meal plan that I have for each day, and I set that up on a weekly basis. My workout plan, as I was filling out my workout database, I noticed that I didn't like the way that I have set up the actual database. So some of these variables, when you go in, you see that I have lots of properties. I only want to know the workout, the type of workout, the next time I'm doing it, and also how I performed the last time I did that movement or the last time I did that exercise, so I can track it over time. I like it that way. I think that's going to be nice. It doesn't change anything that is displayed in my calendar, but it is an improvement to my system. Next is my digital planner. I currently don't have a digital planner. It's just included in my systems check in the event that I am using a digital planner. That is going to get crossed off. I am using a paper planner right now, and I have decided to go back to the bullet journal system. For everything that I'm capturing outside of Notion, I use the following system. I have additional icons or signifiers for other things that need to be moved into my Notion system or just going to sit in the notebook. So I'll just continue to use my paper planner as a bullet journal, and it's a supplement to my Notion dashboard. Finally, I took a look at my email workflow this quarter. I really like the way that it's going. In fact, if I open up my Gmail account right now, my inbox has one email in it that I have to address when I start work next week, and nothing else is actionable. Everything else is referenced and are sorted away into different inboxes. At the very bottom of my mid-year reset, I'm going to take a look at what I do that's specific to every quarter. We are in quarter 3 since we're about to go into the third quarter. During this reset, I generally do a photo declutter, and that means that I spend some time going through my photos, deleting things, organizing things, and I also do a yearly photo album. The reason I have this in quarter 3 is that I usually go on vacation sometime in this quarter, and I use my time on the plane to delete and organize photos since I'm going through about a year of photos. Unfortunately, I am not going to be able to do this year because I'm starting a new job and I took my vacation early and I didn't go anywhere because I was focusing on this YouTube channel and my son was also still in school. So I am going to have to put that off. Maybe for another year, or maybe I'll do it in the fourth quarter. Let me know if you'd like a video on how I do that. The other thing that I focus on is doing another full life assessment. Part of that is already done because I've looked at my yearly goals and I've course corrected for those goals and also recommitted to moving forward with them. The last thing that I want to do is go back to that yearly review and take a look at this life assessment. I'm not going to go through and actually fill in another wheel. I just want to get kind of a pulse for where I am right now and to see if I'm making improvements that I wanted to make back in January. So for health and fitness, I felt like I was at a 3 in January. I definitely feel I'm probably like at a 6 or 7. I'm being really consistent with my workouts. I have been inconsistent with calorie tracking so far, but I've gotten a lot better since doing my whole 6-month tracking video. Since then, I've been really consistent in tracking my calories. So I think I'm trending in the right direction there. In terms of personal growth, I felt like I was at about a 5, and I think that I'm probably at a 6 or 7. I have done a better job at getting into a good routine, and I'm also pretty consistent with my Japanese study. In terms of budgeting and finance, I think that I'm probably an 8 or a 9 there because I've automated a lot of my finances, specifically my investment and my retirement account, and that was some of the goals that I had in January, and I've already moved forward with that. I think my physical environment is about the same. I'm pretty consistently an 8. We do a good job at maintaining the cleanliness of the house, and I'm doing like a marginally better job at my car. That's probably why I wouldn't give myself a 9. I think that's probably still an 8. For friends and family, there's still probably a 4, and at this season of my life, I'm just really focusing on mastering my YouTube channel, on getting situated in my new job, and it's just not a priority, and I think it's a 4, and it might stay a 4 for the rest of the year, and I'm okay with that. My 9 to 5 job, I was really unhappy with the job that I was in earlier this year, and it wasn't because I don't love what I do. It was because I was placed in a managerial position where I basically could no longer do what I love, which is behavioral science, having time with personal clients for coaching or clients in my clinical practice. So it was kind of a 5 because I was optimistic about getting a new job and I was unhappy with my current job. So I would say that this is still probably a 5 because I don't know how much I'm going to love my new job just yet. I'm really excited about it and I'm feeling optimistic about it. But for now, I think it's still a 5 until I start loving the next place. Fun and recreation was really, really low at a 1. I still don't think that I have scheduled downtime or unplugged routines, and I'm not really sure if I want to address that just yet. I'm going to try to just move from a 1 to a 2 by having that structured self-care time on Sundays, and that's probably as far as I want to go. With a productivity psychologist, I was feeling like about a 7 before I started in January. I'm feeling really good. I think I might give myself an 8 because I've been consistent. We've been growing here. I've been finding my people and my community. So I'm very excited about what we've been doing. We have launched our first products. I think that maybe I would rate myself an 8 right now. I would just love to see me continue being consistent within this channel, and then I feel like I might get to an 8 or 9 by the end of the year. And that is it, guys. That is my mid-year review. I know it was quite lengthy. If you're still here, drop a blue heart emoji in the comments section so that I can say thank you. I've been really enjoying my time here on YouTube this last year, and I hope that I can continue producing videos that resonate with you. If you want to check out any of my other reset videos, I will leave a playlist right here, or check out this video that YouTube thinks you'll like.